All right. Good evening, everyone. We're very happy to have you here with us. Um, Welcome to the Jacksonville Urban League Center for Advocacy and Social Justice Town Hall on Economic Equity. This is part of a series sponsored by the center as part of a community engagement process and uh, our Inspire Change initiative, which is funded by the National Urban League with assistance from the National Football League and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we have this opportunity tonight to hear from the Jaguars about their Lot J program. Our previous town halls have addressed racial equity issues, including access to dental health, education, reentry programs for the previously incarcerated, voter suppression, and criminal justice reform. Um, I would like to thank all of our speakers and particularly our interns working in the background to make this uh, one of our best presentations ever. Um, and before we get started, I want to have uh, Dr. Richard Danford say a few words, President of the Urban League, before I introduce our moderator. Richard?
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Chester. Good evening from the Jacksonville Urban League. I want to welcome our viewers and our participants from the Jacksonville community. Our Jacksonville Urban League associates, and certainly the Jacksonville Jaguar organization for this unprecedented community discussion. Thanks to the National Urban League and the National Football League for providing this opportunity to engage the community in participating in Lot J development discussion around the economic impact for the total community. And I say for the total community, we feel strongly that the development downtown will certainly help all of Jacksonville, and we're on board with that. And we're looking at how our communities, particularly communities of color, those communities that have been left behind, how can they participate more effectively in all of this process, because we're talking about a lot of money that the city is proposing, in this particular project. So again, we're at the Urban League, we're looking at opportunities to engage the community. Community input is very important. It's very important that the community knows that they're not just a few people making decisions for the entire community. So we're thankful for this opportunity, and we're thankful to the Jaguars for opening up their doors for the community, so such that Lot J can be a community project. Okay, and we're on board, and we're looking forward to how we can participate and how we can include the community going forward. So thank you all very much. I look forward to the discussion, and thank you, Tanisha, for hosting this with us. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Richard. Before I introduce Tanisha, I wondered if Chester Daniel, you wanted to say anything as coordinator of this series.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. My name is Chester Daniel, and at the Urban League, I coordinate an initiative called Inspire Change. In 2017, the National Football League decided to play a role in bringing about systemic change in our justice system. and pledged $90 million to its Inspired Change initiative, focusing on 3 priority areas: education and economic advancement, police and community relations, and criminal justice reform. Since 2017, $44 million of the $90 million have been allocated to more than 700 organizations across the country. And in January 2020, the National Urban League received a grant from the NFL and is using the funding to support its urban apprenticeship program, its urban youth empowerment program, and reentry programs. Jacksonville Urban League is one of 5 affiliates across the country to receive funding. Attending this town hall meeting are representatives from the National Urban League and other participating affiliates in Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New Orleans. At the Jacksonville Urban League, we are inspiring change with forums such as this town hall, but more specifically through our Center for Advocacy and Social Justice, our Center for Education and Career Training, and our Center for Economic Empowerment. We are working with many organizations to assist the ex-offender population to training, while working to ensure that our youth avoid the school to prison pipeline. Civic engagement is one of the hallmarks of the Jacksonville Urban League, and as a convener and bridge builder for more than 70 years, we have arranged this town hall for you to weigh into the issues and decisions of this city. We look forward to your participation. Thanks, and back to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Chester. And now for the Jaguars. Very pleased to introduce Tanisha Tate, Vice President for Social Justice for the Jacksonville Jaguars. New to that position, we're excited to be working with her. She's responsible for creating programming and executing on the organization's social responsibility mission that is designed to emphasize respect and to inspire and unify players, staff, fans, and area communities through efforts to make a positive, meaningful impact. The role Tate will now hold comes as the Jags and many teams in the NFL have joined the fight against social justice in America. She has been a long, passionate, and loyal member of the team, and her love for Jacksonville and its people is well known to anyone who has spent even a moment with her. Now, that came from the Jaguars Newswire, and I would absolutely have to agree. The first meeting we had, I knew that she was definitely behind the community. She can name the 5 neighborhoods that the Jacksonville Urban League serves in the Northwest side. They're in so much need. And she is, she's just a wonderful person. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Tanisha.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And thank you to the Jacksonville Urban League for hosting us, Dr. Danford and Chester Daniels. Thank you guys so much for giving us the opportunity to just engage with the all-important group of people that you guys serve day in and out. And thank you for just being an advocate in all the areas that you guys champion every day, and for all the years that you've been championing for those different communities. So thank you. Thank you also for this important conversation on how we begin to use this opportunity of Lot J to further impact, specifically in the areas of economic advancement in Jacksonville. So as Dennis said, my name is Tanisha Tate. I am from Jacksonville. I grew up here on the north side, as I'm sitting in my house, so here still on the north side. I grew up on the north side. I am a proud Rains Viking, class of '98, with a background in education. And so I graduated with a degree in early childhood education and started my career in Duval County Public School System before moving to my role with the Jags in 2012. And it's been amazing to be able to get back to the things that I really enjoy, which is community impact. So I do want to introduce the rest of our guests for the evening. I want to introduce Julian Duncan, who is the the Chief Marketing Officer and also our Senior VP of Social Responsibility and Impact with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Julian, would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Next time I'm gonna have Dennis do my introduction because he brought you out like we were, on a stage somewhere. But no, but no, I'm Julian Duncan. Everyone in the office calls me JD. I've been a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars family for just over 2 years now. Not originally from Jacksonville, but I am a child of the South from Texas. And honestly, Jacksonville, it's with it being in the South, there's just a kinship there, and I immediately felt at home when I joined the team. And it was due in large part to Tanisha, who was, as soon as I touched down, she told me where I needed to go and where to go get my son's haircut, where to go get good food. And really helped me to understand what the city of Jacksonville is all about. And it's my honor and privilege to be a part of this conversation here tonight, as well as not only lead the marketing efforts for the Jaguars, but also help lead the social responsibility and impact group alongside of Tanisha Tate. Really excited and proud to be one of the handful of organizations that have stood up a division specific to this cause in the NFL. And we're excited to hit the ground running in 2021 in getting after it in full force. So excited to be a part of the conversation. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, JD. I think it's very important that we, the Jaguars, note that we are not doing this by ourselves. So we have enlisted the help of the world-renowned developers of the Cordish Company to really lead the development of this new neighborhood and entertainment district that we are looking to bring to Jacksonville. And they've had success in doing this across our country in cities like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Kansas, and St. Louis. So joining us tonight is Zed Smith. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Cordish. Zed, would you please just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tanisha. And thank you to the Jacksonville Urban League. The Urban League, I'm very familiar with the organization. We partnered with you on numerous things throughout the country. So it's a pleasure being here, and thank you for hosting this forum. As Tanisha said, the Jacksonville Jaguars brought us in because of our experience in working with sports teams across the country. And I've been working in the development for about 2.5 years. But my experience has been in real estate for the last 30 years. I've been with the Cordish companies for the last 20 years in this role of Chief Operating Officer for the last 10 years. So I've just kind of gradually worked my way up the ladder, and it's been a great experience for me. But the thing I enjoy the most is the work that we do in communities across the country. And Tanisha kind of highlighted a few largely urban communities such as Houston, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, Louisville, Kentucky. All those cities are urban, obviously, and they have their strengths and weaknesses. And what we try to do as part of our development effort is really try to figure out how we can be good partners in the communities that we do business in. So that's always at the forefront of our developments. As I said, I've been on the development in Jacksonville for 2.5 years. We've hosted a number of events there with minority contractors. So, and we'll get into that a little later. But that is just something that we do in every major city that we do business in. So thank you for having me this evening.
Thank you, Zed. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Zed, what is LOTJ? I think everyone, we've been hearing it back and forth through media outlets. We've been seeing it on our news feeds. So dive in, take us through it. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's best to kind of show you what it is to some degree. It's a lot of different things. It's designed to be somewhat all things to all people, surrounded around sports. I mean, that's the bread and butter of what this project will be. But more importantly, it's a project that we want the entire community to embrace and feel comfortable and feel welcome to. So we spend a lot of time on our programming, making sure it's diverse, making sure it's inviting, and also just making sure that the community loves what we've done. That's so important. So what I'd like to do is maybe jump into the presentation to get folks a little more acclimated to what we've done across the country, and then we can zoom in a little more on what Lot J is. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to start with just a little more information about us. Our company is based in Baltimore, Maryland. We've been in business for over 100 years. But what you see on the screen are the various divisions that we currently operate in. Our core business is real estate development. But along the way, we've specialized in large-scale mixed-use developments across the country. One of the things that we're very, very proud of, as you see in the middle there, we won 7 Urban Land Institute Awards for Excellence. And what those awards are given to companies that have developed projects that have changed the communities in which they're developed. So we feel very, very proud. We're the only company in the country that has earned 7 Urban Land Institute Awards. So we're very, very proud of that. But it does really speak to the transformative nature of the projects that we do across the country. But just to focus in a little more, we've done co-working space, large-scale entertainment districts. About 10 years ago, we entered into gaming, sports anchored developments about 12 years ago. We also have our own food and beverage division where we operate restaurants and leisure activities. We're also into residential and also hospitality. So as you can see, we cover the full gamut of development. And I think what's unique about our company also is the fact we just don't build these components, we actually operate these component parts as well.
That's awesome. And guys, just remember, as Zed is actually moving us through this, make sure you're dropping your questions for him in the chat.
Yeah, and this is the development that we recently completed a phase 2. To your right is this is St. Louis, Missouri, Busch Stadium. And to the left, you can see our development here. This is the stadium here. This is the first phase of our development. We have a hotel, we did office, and we see a residential tower here. I'm going to move very quickly these because I want to get to the questions, but I'm just going to go very quickly through the component parts of some of these large scale developments. This is St. Louis ground level. You can see the live component here, residential here. Busch Stadium would be to your right. And this is the live component. Everyone said, well, what is live? Live is all about sports. Live is all about community. In this particular shot, we're showing a Blues games, which is the hockey team in St. Louis. Even though the Cardinals are our partner, these developments are all things sports. So whatever sporting events might be happening around the country or in Jacksonville, we highlight those events and host really large watch parties. This is a recent development in Texas, Arlington, Texas. We partnered with the Texas Rangers. This is their new stadium, Globe Life. You can see AT&T Bank Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play. This is the new hotel that we opened, and this is the live entertainment component of Texas Live. This is the interior of Texas Live. As in Texas, you go big or you go home. This is probably 100,000 square feet under one roof. So it's a very exciting place. We host watch parties not only for the Rangers, but also for any sports team. Texas, there's a lot of football there. Show a lot of football games there as well.
So Zed, I have a quick question about live. So if I am just a resident and I'm looking for something to do that evening, is it just like walking into a restaurant? We can just come in and grab a table and have a good time with friends and family?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the beauty of live. So it's sports anchored and sports centered. but you can come in on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, and when there might not be a game, there will probably be a game on one of our big screens. But in a live, for example, here, there's probably 8 to, I think, to 14 different restaurants, or you can eat in this big area here. So it's open 7 days a week, and there's always something going on. A lot of the venues have live entertainment within themselves. So if we're not hosting an event in this large area, one of the restaurants might have live entertainment going on.
That's awesome.
This is downtown Kansas City. This is one of our older developments. This is in the heart of the CBD in Kansas City. In Kansas City, they developed a new arena, the Sprint Arena. To the right here is their world headquarters for H&R Block. And what you see in the middle is the Kansas City Power and Light District. Live is actually indoor-outdoor. It's covered under this canopy here. And then this is our latest residential building. This is One Light that opened, I would say, 5 years ago. We've added another tower since then, and we're working on a third residential tower within the development. And this is live on an event night. So you can see there's no sports going on here. We have the ability to the back of the stage. There is a large screen for hosting events, but this is on a Friday night. And the live component in Jacksonville will have a live stage, and fans and local folks will be able to come down for a concert. So we program at least 200 days out of the year with live entertainment, and hence the name Live. I'm going to jump. Tanisha, do you want me to get into specifically Lot J here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we have plenty of people who are looking for some more meat and potatoes into what's happening with
All right,
Lot J.
I'm going to bring things a little closer to home. The Lot J development. Just big picture. This is a $450 million development. We've partnered with the Jaguars and the city of Jacksonville. It'll feature well over 100,000 square feet of entertainment, very similar to some of the images that you saw in St. Louis and Kansas City and Texas. There'll be 2 residential buildings consisting of about 400 residential units. There'll be a hotel consisting of anywhere from 150 to 250 room boutique hotel. At the street level of the development will be approximately 75,000 square feet of retail, also an office component to the development. We thought that for us to be successful here, we had to create some density. And this is a little different than most of our developments. Normally we would phase in lots starting with live and ultimately add office and residential and hotel, very similar to what we did in St. Louis. In this case, because of the location of Lot J, being a little disjointed from downtown, we really felt we had to create our own neighborhood. And that's really does speak to the size and scale of this development. When you're looking at $450 million, that's what's needed to create the density that we need to create a new neighborhood in this part of Jacksonville. In addition to the office, there'll be 450 new parking spaces. And lastly, 350 parking space garage, and that'll support the residential of the 400 units. This is just kind of an overview of the development. You can see this is Daly's Place here, the stadium, TIAA Bank Field here. This is the location of the hotel. These are the 2 residential buildings. And this is the live building. You'll have retail. The 75,000 square feet of retail will be along this plaza here. And you can see some components very similar to Kansas City. We've created an opaque roof deck. This will allow us to host concerts and in inclement weather, whether it's rain or too warm. So we thought this would be a nice element to have in Florida, given the climate there. So the whole idea is to activate the entire street, whether it's inside the live venue or whether it's on this plaza here, or even if we have the rights to shut down the street and host festivals. So we hope to be able to accommodate as many as 10,000 people on a given day if we shut down the entire street. The fundamental idea here and why this is important to the city is when you look at trying to hold on to major events, whether it's the Florida-Georgia game, whether it's drawing in conventioneers, big conventions. One of the things that was brought out in the market study done by the city is that from a convention standpoint, what's been lacking is an entertainment destination that would be appealing to convention planners. And Lot J does respond to that issue.
That's perfect.
Okay. And these are just some additional images. This is looking from TIAA Bank Field towards downtown. This is the live entertainment venue. This was where the position of your hotel, and your residential would be on both sides here. And this is looking at the opposite direction from downtown, looking towards TIAA Bank Field. I'm just going to run through these very quickly. This is the residential. This is the center plaza with a circle here. This is the live entertainment venue. Again, this is the live entertainment venue here. You'll see some center stage on the opposite side of this rendering. And the next would be community benefits. I'll stop here, and if there are any questions, how do we want to respond to this, Tanisha?
Yeah. So let's move to the chat and just see if we have any questions thus far on anything that we've gone over. That doesn't look like we have any questions just yet. So I just want to remind all of tonight's attendees that if you have questions as we move through this, please feel free to make sure that you're dropping those questions into the chat so that we can address them at some point in our presentation. And just to echo what was said earlier, that this is a community effort, and without your input, it would not be successful. So we definitely want to make sure that everything that we're doing is intentional and is with all of our community in mind, and we are all a part of that. So I want to pivot the conversation just a little bit as we move over to Julian. So Julian, let's talk a little bit about the Jaguars' role in all of this. So we know exactly what Cordish is bringing to the table, but can you share a little bit with us about what Shad Khan's vision really is for downtown Jacksonville, and how you believe that his vision plays into the overall goal of making Jacksonville not only a premier NFL market, but also a first-in-class destination for business, for living, and also for leisure and more?
Yeah, so really, when you think about it, that vision is all about taking downtown Jacksonville and turning it into a neighborhood, right? I mean, we've been calling it Lot J, but I mean, really, we're talking about creating like a vibrant and energetic neighborhood that's full of activity, full of experiences and life for all the citizens of the city to partake in and enjoy. And it's everything that Zed opened us up with. When you talk about at the epicenter of this neighborhood, the Jacksonville Jaguars as that anchor, and then orbiting around it, you've got things like concert shows, restaurants, retails, living spaces, et cetera, they all work together to create this new vision of downtown Jacksonville. I mean, it's beyond exciting, right? And, having, coming from a community and a neighborhood in an area where this has happened, I've seen it happen with my own two eyes down in Houston. It really is an exciting and an extraordinary opportunity that I'm personally excited to be a part of. And it's one of the things that attracted me to Jacksonville, attracted me to this organization, is to be a part of something this magnitude and of this impact to like create this, bring this opportunity to life. And the Jaguars sitting at the center of it, as Zed said, is the core of this entire effort. So, and it goes without saying that we're ecstatic to be a part of it and play a role in bringing this thing to life.
Thank you. So let's move on to what I believe is probably one of the most prevalent questions, or at least consistent questions, that we have heard about this project, and that is really how this project is going to benefit Jacksonville's underserved communities, communities like Northwest Jacksonville, La Villa, Durkeeville, Newtown, and Grand Park. What does it mean for minority businesses, for those that live in nearby the sports complex, like our neighbors out east? And I've seen a couple of questions that have come through the chat about this. So this may be a perfect question for Zed, who I know has tackled these types of things in other communities that Cordish has partnered with. So how do we address those concerns?
Well, let me just start by commenting that this is something that because we are urban developers in the truest sense. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I joined this company. I ran my own company for a number of years. When I met the Cordish family, I was very intrigued by the kind of work that they were doing and their commitment to the revitalization of urban communities. So for me, coming into the organization, what I saw was the opportunity with a clean slate to bring value and meaning to revitalization, and not just the downtown core, but how do we engage every member of the community, from a business standpoint, whether it's education, whether it's working with local schools. We've tried to really understand the best way for us to play an active role in every community. So what I'd like to share with you is our vision, and just really based upon our experience across the country in working with communities hand in glove to develop a community benefits approach that's really open and transparent. And it really does start with, meeting with community folks, understanding their concerns, understanding the things that they're challenged by, and really working with them hand in glove to try to figure out how we can be good partners. So I'm going to share my screen, and this will just highlight just some of the things that we've done in our approach to engaging with the community. And I do view it as a very open process. I always share the fact that, I live in Baltimore, and Baltimore's got its challenges, but it's not Jacksonville, it's not Kansas City, Missouri, it's not Houston, Texas. It's very different. There are some similarities in terms of the challenges that these cities face, but how we approach addressing those challenges is very different. So we come in with our eyes open and really willing to roll up our sleeves to partner with the communities, organizations that are doing the work. That's what we try to do, is to partner with those organizations that are actually doing good work. But let me just start from a broad brush, because people were saying, well, what does this mean for our city? And just from an economic standpoint, over the life of this project, over the next 40 years, just salaries, indirect and direct, is $2 billion in direct and indirect salaries. In total jobs, we're looking at 2,300 construction jobs, 800 permanent jobs, and once we open the hotel, we're looking at about 225 hotel jobs. On an annual basis, the economic output for Jacksonville from this project will be $100 million annually. Just on a community benefit side, these are the areas that we've tackled in other cities. And we're not limited to these categories, but this is how we've approached it over the last 15 years since I've been heading up this effort. One thing that on the construction side, we really want to work with on developing apprentice programs. I was on a call last night with St. Louis, some of the challenges they've been facing, trying to get young people into the trades. How do we get them off the bench if you're a union town and into the workforce? So we've spent a lot of time working with our contractors as well as cities on how to create apprentice programs where young people have the tools that they need and the experience that they need to actually work within the trades. Local and diverse hiring, a major component. As I had mentioned earlier, we've hosted 2 events for JSEB and minority contractors at TIAA Bankfield. We'll continue to do that even more as we get closer to development. But my experience has been that the earlier that we start, the more productive we can be. So local workforce hiring, diverse hiring is very important to us. And the key has been working with organizations, as I said earlier, that are already doing the work. We're not there to reinvent the wheel, but if we can partner and support organizations, whether it's with the city or whether there are other nonprofits that are working in this space, we want to be your partner on workforce development.
So along those lines, Ed, can you share with us an example of some success in that particular area that Cordish has had in maybe another city? Because
Sure.
that is obvious here in Jacksonville, that is definitely a need for us.
Sure. Well, I'll give you a great example. In Kansas City, we started a mentoring program. So we took young men and women that had interest in the trades, whether it's carpentry, plumbing, electrical. We partnered them through our contractor with a sub, and they were partnered with a sub, but they also had a mentor that would kind of like a buddy system. They would partner with someone working in a trade that had experience, and that would be their coach. And that person helped guide them through the process of getting on board, working with the unions. In this case, in Kansas City, there wasn't a union, but just identifying individuals that wanted to work in the trades and creating that mentor-mentee relationship that worked out very well. In fact, that program continues to go on, even though we've stopped building for a year or so in Kansas City. So that's a great example of how we didn't reinvent it. It was something that was already existed, but we brought it into our project.
Zed, Tanisha, can I jump in for a quick sec?
Absolutely.
So just as a quick plug, this slide may as well be called the Tanisha Tate and Chester Daniel slide, because this slide really gets to the heart of the social responsibility and impact group that Tanisha leads. And at the heart of that sits the Inspired Change effort that Chester Daniel referred to at the top of the conversation. And one of those key tenets is economic advancement and empowerment. And that it gets to the heart of what Zed is laying out for us. And it starts at the top with our organization. Shad Khan is on the executive sponsorship committee of Inspired Change at the NFL. So this idea of economic empowerment and community benefits, it runs deep. That river runs deep throughout the organization from the top to the bottom, and is a key driver of the group that, again, Tanisha is leading for the organization and everything that Chester is driving here at the Urban League. So this slide is now the Tanisha and Chester slide.
All right.
Oh, Chester, they're putting us to work already. I love it.
Yeah. And just
okay.
just to round things out here. So diversity and inclusion, again, that's more on the contracting side. And as I said, we met with some of the contractors, but I like to link workforce and diversity and inclusion because my expectation is that if we can contract with diverse companies, they will in turn hire a diverse workforce. And we experienced that in St. Louis last night, where we were able to see there's a direct correlation by hiring diverse companies that in turn will hire a diverse workforce. So I link those two together when we're approaching any development. The bottom three, well, I'll start with the bottom right because that's, to me, is where the rubber meets the road. We established a community advisory committee in every city that we do business in, and that's made up of community leaders, nonprofits, educators, contractors, just to help guide us in that particular city. I'm all over the country, but it is very helpful to have a group of folks that are based in that city, that understand all the nuances, understand all the challenges, and they help guide us to problem solve. You know, we want to be good partners, and it's important for us to have folks on the ground that really understand the landscape that could be helpful to us in navigating how we can be good partners. The last two, in terms of philanthropy, the community advisory committee ultimately evolves under this, will take on the whole philanthropy effort. We'll be putting up dollars, but we don't want to be in the driver's seat trying to determine where those dollars should go. That community advisory committee will work hand in hand with the development team and determine where those resources will go. And lastly, we want to use this space as community space. The city of Jacksonville is investing in Lot J. It belongs to the citizens of Jacksonville. So we've already worked out in our development agreement that there'll be opportunities for the city to use the space as well as for the community to use the space. So that's something that we embrace in every major development that we do.
Thank you. So I have a great question that came in from, I believe this is Deborah Thomas. So the question is, will small and minority contractors be introduced to major contractors through this project?
Sure, absolutely. That's the cornerstone of how all this works. So typically the way we're set up, we will have a general contractor. But what we've done across the board is we've incorporated components within their contract that require them to have these kind of meetup sessions where the larger subs are working or have an opportunity to meet the larger subs and to really connect. And just beyond those initial introductions, we are putting in stipulations in those contracts that there must be minority participation. So there are multiple layers here, starting with our general contractor, going down to the subs, and then working down to the MBE, JSEB contractors. So long story short, we're forcing that action. There'll be a series of events that we host for those introductions. We've done that in pretty much every development that we've done. So we'll certainly do it here in Jacksonville.
Thank you. So there is another question. Let me stroll up in the chat. They're kind of coming in fast and furious now, and I lost the question. So I'm going to paraphrase the question because I have lost it in the chat. So I'm sorry, guys. But the question was around whether or not Black-owned restaurants would have space inside the new neighborhood of Lot J.
Sure. Yeah, well, that question has come up quite a bit. And what we try to do, because I don't want to create situations where people go in business and as you know, it's very challenging. We just don't want people to fail. So there is a process. And what I will say is that process will be open to everyone. And what we've done historically is if there's an entrepreneur, a restaurateur that has the experience, has the financial wherewithal that we want to work with, that we can partner with, because we have partnered with local entrepreneurs, then the door is wide open and the opportunity is wide open. I do want to reiterate that we want people to be successful. And so we just want to make sure that they qualify, that they understand the risk. And if that's the case, then we're willing to work with anybody. Because, you know, I think one of the issues or one of the questions that came up, well, are there going to be all these cookie cutter restaurants and so on and so forth? That's not what we want. we're looking for opportunities to bring Jacksonville, a little bit of Jacksonville to Lot J. So we want it to be a unique experience. So if I'm coming in for a convention, I don't want to go to Applebee's. I want to be able to experience Jacksonville and all its authenticity. So it's not going to be a stack of national restaurants. It's going to be a unique mix and an offering of local Jacksonville restaurants. So I know it's a long response because it is a little nuanced, but we do want people to understand the risk going in. It is business, but I will say that we're there to help you navigate the process. And we want to start that process early. So if there is interest, they need to reach out early so we can make sure we understand their business. If there's a financial need, we can help with that as well. So we've done a lot of this along the way. So the door is open for that opportunity.
So I have to say, one of the things that I love about my city, other than the fact that I am a total foodie, so that I'm with you. I never go out of town and eat at like an Applebee's or a chain restaurant. I want to eat where real people eat are eating at. But one thing that I love about my city is just the support that's there. And so along those lines, to add to what you just said, there is a program out right now that is actually supported by the Jacksonville Urban League and Urban League Worldwide, and the PepsiCo Foundation, that is called the Black Restaurant Accelerator Program. And Jacksonville was one of the awarded cities. And so we have that support that's here. And that program is not only looking to help enhance restaurants of color, but to give them mentorship, money to help them along with infrastructure and make sure that they succeed. So not only would they have that support of Cordish and the Jaguars, but they would have that continued support of Urban League and other resources. And so I love how our city just seems to wrap around, and that's what makes a whole neighborhood work anyway. And so that would be great. Let's see. We have time for just a few more questions before we wrap. So here's another question. This one, again, would probably be for you, Zed. It says, how is your team phasing out the various divisions of the contract throughout the project, the construction projects? Not really.
Can you repeat the question, please?
It says, how is your team phasing out the various divisions on the contract throughout the project?
If I understand the question, well, and I might not have it here, but there are component parts to this development. So you have a hotel component, you have a live component, then there's the residential, there's infrastructure. So we're not looking at this as just one big contract. So each contract will be separate. There'll be opportunities for minority businesses to, if they have the bonding capacity, to even bid on those. We're not locking anybody out here. But I think what's important, and this is something that we've done across the country, is right sizing bid contracts. Once we have a better understanding of, bonding capacity, the capacity to work on a project, that will help us better understand how to size contracts right. It doesn't do us any good, doesn't do a small business any good if all the contracts are $10, $15 million. So what we've found, it's been very helpful for us to focus on right sizing contracts so smaller contractors can participate. So we'll have our eye on that ball as we roll out through each phase of the development. So I hope that answers the question.
Perfect. So we have a question, and maybe Julian, this would be one that you or Zed are free to give any input on. And the question reads, will there be felon-friendly opportunities through some of the construction projects? Will we be accepting, or will there be space for returning citizens to receive employment through this project?
You know, what I can say is that it's not a part of our practice to dig into that or to ask about that past history as it relates to employment opportunities. So, you know, with that being a part of how we've established ourselves, you know, we don't see that as something that would have a material impact on employment going forward.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I can't speak for all the contractors that might be involved, but I can say as we move into operations, that's not a barrier for us. So anyone that's willing and able to work and wants to join our team, you know, they're welcome to apply. So that's not a barrier for us. And what we will do is we'll speak to our contractors, and if there are local organizations that work with folks that are returning back to the community, we'll try to bridge that gap.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you guys so much for giving us some of your time this evening to walk our community through just a vision for downtown, for bringing back what I believe is something that has been missing in the city that I love, that has given so much to me and that I believe can give so much to so many others. And this is what I believe is the first step to us as a city, just having more opportunity for everyone around the board. And so once again, I want to thank the Jacksonville Urban League for hosting us. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your community advocacy. Thank you to all of my team at the Jaguars and at the Cordish companies for everything that you guys are doing for our city and for our just our futures that's here, and making us a competitive market in the state of Florida. We don't want to continue to have those big conventions pass us over to go to Orlando. It's not good for us as a city. It doesn't lend to us being able to increase opportunity for our young people, or to give them a better future. And that's what we need. And I believe that is everybody's goal. And that's what everyone is working towards. And it's certainly what we are working towards as just a community with the vision of this Lot J neighborhood. So thank you guys. I'm going to kick this back over to our gracious host. So Dennis, thank you again. And if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to get in contact with me through the Urban League.
Thank you very much, Tanisha. We did learn a lot. We had a few more questions coming in, but we're going to be, this video will be live on our Facebook page as well as YouTube. And no doubt you'll take the opportunity to make comments and provide questions that will continue the conversation with the community. And with that, I'd like to ask Richard Danford, Dr. Richard Danford, our president, if you'd like to give us some closing remarks.
Sure, Dennis, thank you so much. I just want to express my appreciation for the opportunity, to participate with the Jaguars around this conversation. We know that it is a major issue in our city, and we're looking for information, we're looking for facts, we're looking for how this opportunity will really benefit the total community. We know that it will benefit downtown immensely, but we also want to know how it can trickle down, trickle over, trickle wherever to help those communities that are currently underserved. So again, I'm Zed and Julian. I'm looking forward to communicating with you and interfacing with you to make this a done deal for the city of Jacksonville, but more importantly for the community, because I think the total community can grow from this. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that. And the Urban League is looking forward to being a part of it. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Richard. And I urge everyone to not only take a look at the video on Facebook and on our YouTube, but also our recent one last night on the COVID-19 vaccine. Our local medical society had some great points for the community, emphasizing the value of the vaccine. And then going forward, we'll continue our series in through next year. Starting in January, we'll have at least 2 town halls and other events focused on Inspired to Change. So thank you everyone, and have a great rest of the week. And for those of you that I will not see until after the new year, have a great holiday season. So thank you for being with us.
Right. Thank you for having us.